Okay, so I went myself today to the Fifth Avenue Apple store in New York, which is the flagship store in New York, and boy, was it crowded, and it's always crowded. And I checked it out, and if you're watching this podcast, if you watch the video version, I've got some of my own home footage, and it's really cool. Like here I am, and this is a dedicated iPad display, embedded in some sort of glass wedge that you can't move around. And one of the cool things is that you can't see how the power comes into it. And apparently Apple has some sort of proprietary thin cable coming in. But if you want to check out all the features of the iPad, there's this interactive brochure just for the iPad. And the cool thing is you can actually ask to talk to a specialist. If you click yes when the window pops up, you get put into a queue and it makes you wait. But, it's cool. Here there are features tab, a compare tab, a carriers tab, a support tab. So it's much more helpful than like a paper display, because you can go in and see here what AT&T would give you for a data plan. You can go in and see what Verizon would give you a data plan. And if you don't want to do it on, the actual iPad that is the display to buy, because there's going to be a lot of software on this. And here on this iPad display, the home button doesn't work. So it's sort of permanently in this dedicated electronic brochure mode. So I think it's pretty cool. It struck me that people were into it. Now I've got a shot here. Here's the iPad, display. And with people trying to buy iPads. So there are these wedged iPads in glass, and then there's people playing with iPads that are, iPads that you can buy. So boy, if you watch this video, there's just iPads everywhere. It's a heavily iPad store, and so it's definitely a new way to sell retail in an Apple store. And the one thing though is that there are wires coming out for all these displays, these glass wedge displays. So you do have more wires on the table, and I don't know how that squares with Apple's aesthetic. So I also have video shots showing how, look, the iPad wedge even is being used to sell the white iPhone. And in this video display, it's like right underneath the white iPhone. And then the brochure is a little different because now it's a different product. So it has all the information about the iPhone data plan as opposed to the iPad data plan. And it also allows you to compare iPhones and what the features are. So each iPad display is a little different. And even I guess the Mac has its own iPad display, and if you're looking at this video, the MacBook one has it, and also the iMac. So sitting next to the iMacs also are these displays, and if you go to compare in the software, you get the whole iMac line. So the electronic brochure is pretty universal, and I don't know. I think it's smart of Apple to do this. I think it's going to help sell all the products, not just the iPad. Now the thing is, I think this is going to help Apple sell more iPads, because now even if you're not interested in an iPad and you go to an Apple store and want to see other things like a Mac or an iPod Nano or I don't know, an iPhone. Wherever you go, wherever there are products, electronic products, there's an embedded iPad, like as a display, interactive, for, giving you information about that product. So I think it's kind of clever of Apple, because it's really pushing the iPad in a subtle way, saying, look, even if you're not interested in buying an iPad, look how useful an iPad is as a display. So number one, it'll help people going in an Apple store. It'll help sell iPads, because they'll be like, wow, look how cool this display is. So this is an iPad. I don't have to go to an iPad table to play with it or touch it or see how thin it is. I'll be over at a Mac and I'll be able to use it. But also, how about in the business world? Because Apple is basically telling anybody who's got a retail app operation, hey, maybe we could sell you one of these iPads embedded as a display, and you could create your own interactive brochure and your own interactive support system. In other words, the cool thing is you can press a button and you'll go into a queue and they'll know where your iPad is and someone will come over and help you. So that's the other reason why I think it's good, because it'll help people who have retail enterprise needs to see that the iPad can be used in the enterprise as a electronic brochure. Now, some people are saying, oh, but look, how about all the electricity Apple is wasting with these iPads hooked up? And I don't know how much more electricity it's going to be. I mean, Apple already has a lot of devices in an Apple store, all the Macs, all the Nanos, the electricity just to cool or heat an Apple store and the lights and all of that. And I don't think an iPad plugged in, as a electronic display is going to really add that much to the consumption needs of Apple. So overall, it's an interesting